started, and then I'm going to connect us live to Facebook. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Thank you, Wing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Looks like we are almost live on Facebook.
Oh, we are. I can see it on there.
Yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. There it is. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome. Welcome. We'll get started here in just a second.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, look, we do have someone here. Oh, no, it's just us two.
No,
Oh,
we have an
attendee. Yay. Rosemary,
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
This is a brand new topic. Rosemary, if you do want to talk, you have that ability now to unmute. I do think we have a smaller attendance today, though.
No problem. If you want. Yeah, and Rosemary, no need to show your camera, and whatever's comfortable for you. But if you want to unmute or type in the chat as we go, that'd be great. And I know, Wing, you had something to say. You wanted to say some stuff before we start, but any folks that ask questions as we go on Facebook or in the chat, you can.
Yeah, for sure. We have somebody watching on Facebook too. And if you have questions or comments on Facebook or in the Zoom room, you can drop them in the comments or the chat. And I know we had a couple more registrants, but I think we'll get us kicked off here. This is one in a series of workshops with Fix-A-Fair at Home, which brings you topics that we normally have at our in-person events. But since the pandemic, we've been doing online workshops. We do hope to return to in-person events in the fall, though, so keep your eye peeled for that. My name is Wing. I'm one of the coordinators of the Fix-A-Fair, which is the City of Portland, Oregon coordinated event. And today we have Zach from Community Energy Project with a new topic for the Fix-A-Fair that I'm very excited about. So thank you for being here, Zach. I invite you to take it away.
Wonderful. Wing, thank you so much. Rosemary, did you have a question? I saw you unmute. Did you want to say something?
No, but I want to know if I'm on video. I don't want to be on video.
You are not on video. You are good.
Okay, so am I the only one here?
You're only one here on Zoom, but I think there are some people watching on Facebook. So we're going to get started.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to be on Facebook either. Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And yeah, if you have questions, absolutely feel free to unmute or type in the chat, whatever works best for you. But Wing, thank you again. Thank you to Fix-A-Fair. Thank you to my supervisors here at Community Energy Project who let me kind of try something new here with Advocate for a Clean Energy Future topic. I mean, we are doing advocacy as an organization, as a nonprofit with other organizations, but we thought maybe we could bring something that's a little more accessible to the community, right through Fix-A-Fair, through the city, and just kind of do a short little entry point into, what are we advocating for as our organization and some of our partners, why we're doing this and kind of what it looks like, and, hopefully how you can get involved. So this will be about like 20-30 minutes, maybe shorter, not a lot of information, really just more of kind of, like I said, a beginner's guide, a first kind of try here, and we've never given this presentation before. So thank you very much for everyone coming along the way, but I think you can learn something here, and I really hope you enjoy it. Community Energy Project, if you've heard of us, I'll just give a brief conversation about this. We've been in Portland about 40 years doing community engagement, so workshops about weatherization or solar or lead poisoning and free materials for low-income folks here in the community. So we serve about 500 households every year, which is amazing. And then we have our direct home services program. You can see here, they go into people's homes, do repairs, do the weatherization, and upgrades and stuff like that for free, and really focusing on seniors, disabled folks, and underserved communities. This new piece that we hired a climate justice advocate Her name is Alma, and she is awesome. She's been here for about a year, and this position was kind of created with her. So we've really been getting more into this advocacy space and using our voice, using our experience in the community to advocate for some things that we really believe in, climate justice, environmental justice, energy efficiency, clean energy, all of these things. And, you probably heard advocacy before, but what does that really look like on a day-to-day basis? This is just one example. I'll talk about some other ways that you can advocate for clean energy and for the things you believe in. But a great example is on social media. These are some of our posts, right? How we're trying to engage those that we serve and the community in the things, this topic. So as you can see, like this post from March 9th, right? Community leaders are working on building standards. And then this post on the right here was, an alert that we actually we successfully got some of our participants and some of those folks that we served to, come to a meeting, a hearing where they were able to share their personal experience of dealing with high electricity bills, so sometimes if there's no, and we'll talk about this today, if there's no kind of point of access into these decision-making circles and these, legislative or legislature or political kind of debates, people don't get involved. And that makes a lot of sense. I didn't used to get involved until I realized that there were a much easier ways to do it than what I thought, prior. So we really try to help our participants, if they choose, to get involved in places that they can. So today in this presentation, I'm just going to talk about the current situation, right? We're talking about clean energy. Why are we talking about that? Why are we advocating for it? We're going to talk, how it affects you. We serve 500 households a year, if not more. We understand why this is important because we see it on the ground. We see it in people's homes. The situation is real and it's affecting folks, including myself. I was here last summer and I don't have AC in my apartment. And we'll talk about how it affects our lives. It's very difficult when we're uncomfortable and our bills are high. Who makes the decisions and why? The power you have and how to use it, and the next steps that I encourage folks. And if there are others, there might be others, but just some ways that we'll be able to take action or advocate. So please ask questions as we go. And thanks again so much for coming. Like I said, it will probably be a short presentation, but I do hope you find something of value in it. So what's the situation? Maybe folks already here know about this. Maybe that's why you attended, but fossil fuels are causing significant harm to people and the environment. Fossil fuels are anything from oil drilling offshore or onshore, coal burning, that's this picture on the bottom left, natural gas. So these are old ways that we get energy and still do today, but they cause serious problems for the environment and for people. And we have solutions. Clean renewable energy is safe and sustainable. Wind, solar, other forms of clean energy, battery technology. There are new solutions, and we don't have to maintain the status quo, especially if the status quo is really hurting folks and putting our survival at risk as humans, as animals and plants and our ecosystem and Earth as a whole. And this is perfect timing too. Actually, I didn't even realize this, Wing, for folks here. It's Earth Week. Tomorrow's Earth Day, so I didn't even really plan that, but this has turned when we scheduled this, but it's really worked out so well to do this right now. Perfect timing. Yes, exactly. But what all folks are talking about this week, tomorrow, Earth Day, this whole month, and just generally is, it's unacceptable the way that these extreme weather events, climate change is affecting folks, and affecting underserved and disadvantaged and communities of color, in unacceptable ways. And this has been happening for years, but it's coming to light, right now. Extreme weather, people dying last summer from the extreme heat. Our high electricity bills, we all know that in the winter when it gets really cold, our bills are going up because we're paying more to heat our spaces if we can. And then, community health and safety. It's just not acceptable to continue the status quo when the status quo is not protecting people, it's not protecting our environment, and it's unequitable. And especially when there are solutions out there, like we were talking about. And not to, put a damper on your day. I know it's sunny outside, but the point here is that there are just real side effects, and just kind of drilling down on this situation. Whether it's winter or summer, we just noticed that this is happening season after season. It's not just once in a while now, right? This is happening every year, if not multiple months during the year, depending on the season. So, what's the point of all of this is that, and especially for myself too, right? Is I'm passionate. I've been affected by climate change. My bills go up. We experienced the heat last summer, but I'm learning myself kind of how to get involved. And, one of the main points of this presentation is to kind of understand who was making the decisions about our energy and our safety, and our future is really the Public Utility Commission, and then the utilities that they regulate. I have PG, Portland General Electric is my utility. We don't get gas in my apartment, but maybe you get gas from Northwest Natural or other providers. Pacific Power might provide your electricity. These are utilities, and the Public Utility Commission regulates them. We're all the customers. So this is kind of the focus of this presentation, is in this space here, but with all of these players, us being one of the players. And we put these arrows on here to realize that this relationship should exist, and exist in a much stronger way than it does currently. It's not this separation. The future of energy, what I truly believe, is a relationship that is working with customers, leading, if they, ideally leading and taking power over what the electricity they're getting, if it's clean, wind or solar, like that, those types of things, and not just bearing the brunt of whatever decisions the utilities make. And these utilities, these are for-profit organizations, so if they're not regulated, if they're not listening to the customer's needs, and what the Public Utility Commission is advocating for, these folks are elected by the governor. So our governor elects these folks, and of course they have staff that help them. But we really do have a lot of say in what's going on in this situation, and that's what this presentation is encouraging you to kind of engage a little bit more, and not just feel, so we don't feel like we have no power. So why is this the situation? Why is this the status quo? The Public Utility Commission, by law, is doing what they're doing by law. Their law says that they were created to ensure Oregonians, our gas, or Oregonians, our gas, our water, electric, and our internet, is affordable, reliable, and safe. That's what the Public Utility Commission has to ensure, and those services that go along with all of those utilities, gas, water, electric, and internet. So like I said before, they regulate the utility companies, and how they regulate them has a direct impact on your bills. So this is what I was trying to show, is that, we're really not too far off from these decisions. Maybe we think sometimes with politics, like someone making a decision all the way over here, or in Washington, or, maybe in Salem, how does that really affect our lives if it's a program that we don't know about, or something that we don't need? I think electricity affects all of us. I think it's a human right to have access to the internet and electricity, especially water, right? And it costs money. And so we are directly impacted. And that's really the point of this conversation. And then taking steps from there, that's kind of where we're leading to this, right? Is when we think, okay, how can I do anything about this, Zach? I'm still learning too. So, I don't know everything you can do. There's other experts out there that can tell you more. I'm just telling you what I've learned in the last year doing this job about the things we can do and how it really works when we advocate. So this quote, right, is from a staff member recently. The PUC has become the vehicle for utility change. And what do we advocate? What are we hoping to change? We're hoping to change that the utilities providing clean energy. And it's working, right? So our utilities and the Public Utility Commission are increasing deployment of renewable energy and stopping to burn coal. Number two, they're creating affordable prices specifically for underserved and disadvantaged communities. This is something recently, is that low-income folks who qualify will receive lower rates on their bills. And then finally, reducing carbon pollution from their electricity system by 2040. So there are dates and timelines and targets and goals because of the advocacy work that's being done by Community Energy Project and many other environmental justice organizations and other clean energy leaders in the community. And I just put a little note, those stars here at the bottom, House bill or Senate bill number means a law passed by the Oregon legislator. That's just the numbers they use. Do we have any questions at this moment? Wing, are you seeing any questions on Facebook?
No, you have a like on Facebook, but no
Woo!
questions so far.
Okay. Got a like, sweet. And Rosemary, you're doing all right? Okay, cool. I'm going to take the silence as a yes, which is totally fine. Great. Just a couple more slides here, folks. So, Rosemary, did you want to say something?
I thought I already did, but I wasn't on mute. But I've already taken advantage of PGE has options to, during certain hours of the day to decrease your energy. And I've gained points for that, and also bought some green energy. So there are some options, but it's really concerning in the view of the world, all the other problems that climate is really considered. So I'm glad you're doing this. It's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. And that is an awesome point that you made, is like, there are ways that us customers can participate as well. Like doing that peak time rebate program, which is awesome. And yeah, that is exactly the point, is that the customers are going to be more involved, whether it's advocacy or just, with our money, right? Maybe we can't choose our utility, but we can definitely choose how much energy we use. And we can sign up for programs, and so I definitely respect and appreciate you saying that, Rosemary. So, and then a really specific example that I think that my coworker Alma really, said, hey, Zach, you probably want to mention this, is the advocacy really works, right? I was, talking about, okay, yeah, these bills were passed, okay, what does that mean? There are definitely other successes, right? That, Oregon doesn't have any coal plants in the state anymore that are operating, right? So there are really positives, but I think one that's a huge win that I want to highlight is, as you can see here, community organizations advocate for a longer extension through the pandemic. So the Public Utility Commission was going to end a moratorium. So this, moratorium, what that means is that it's stopped, that they have stopped doing something. There's a moratorium on it. And they had stopped during the pandemic, they had stopped disconnecting people for not paying for their electricity bills. And what the community organizations did through advocacy is they extended that moratorium because the pandemic was still ongoing. And this ended up having doubled up on the win, excuse me. Gosh, I should have practiced that statement before, but that was from off the hip there. But with the summer heat, people actually, if they had AC, were able to, maintain their electricity because of this extension. So when, folks that did not have electricity during the heat wave were even more at risk, right? And so extending that moratorium just purely because of community organizations advocacy is just a great example of that work being successful and really having a significant life-saving impact in some cases for folks in the community. And I just put I know this is a little messy down here, but these are just pictures of all of these organizations out in the community here in Portland and across Oregon that are doing this work. And I'll talk, that'll lead me to the next slide about how you can kind of get involved. So ways to take action, right? There are some things that you may not be able to do, and that is totally okay. There's some things I don't do because it takes time and effort. And so not everyone, we have lives and we have things going on. So, you know, I'm always mindful when I ask folks to take more put in effort or commit to something, because I totally understand what it means to not have time. But what's beautiful about this advocacy work and about, you know, being involved with something that you care about is that you can take, there's many different levels of commitment. And, you know, so some days I feel like only spending 5 minutes. Other days I feel like spending 2-3 hours, you know, so it really depends on what you're interested in and able to do. But you can attend public events. This is not just protesting, right? This is very different. You know, it can be different, right? This can be going to a public hearing. Like I said before, we had participants who we've served were on Zoom and they waited their turn, and it was a public event, public hearing, open to the public for comment. And one of our participants said, hey, I really don't think that it's appropriate for a utility to raise the cost of my electricity bill right now when they did a few months ago and it's still the pandemic. And everyone heard that. The commissioners heard that, you know, the public heard that, and it was very powerful. So, you know, attending meetings, events, or protests, if you can, here's a link to the news and events. You can submit comments and actions as well. This is really common. It can just be an email. It can be like an email to, or it can be a link or a newsletter. There are different ways that organizations go about doing this, but they try to, like I said, make it as easy as possible for you to submit a comment and have your voice heard. All comments have to be read by law by those decision-making bodies. Post, share on social media, like I showed in the beginning of the presentation. You know, just going on your phone and sharing something or posting something is really, really effective. It's also a great way to get informed. If you follow some of those community organizations and leaders, you can kind of see what they're getting. I mean, like that example I gave about the person speaking at the event, one of our participants, they saw the link on our Facebook because we were saying, hey, if you have an hour this afternoon and you want to make a statement at a public space, at a public meeting, you absolutely can. And here's the link. Boom. And that person came on their, attended on their phone while I think they were, cooking or something. They were, on their phone and were able to have their voice heard in an important meeting. Oh, this is an example of an action, right? To provide comments. Sometimes they'll just make it a lot easier for us. So this is an example, right? I put my name, Zach Sermach, Portland, Oregon. Share your personal reason for opposing a natural gas pipeline, and then you just click the button and it submits it on your behalf. So just some examples of action and that you don't always have to do the most, or there's small little things that you can do if you care about this and if you have time. I know there are folks out there that really care a lot and don't have time, and that is totally okay too. I understand that. And this is just another example, right, of our Facebook, and we're sharing exciting news too. And this is what I mean by staying informed. If you just if you use Facebook or other social media, or get newsletters from these organizations that I showed earlier. Sorry to jump around, but some of these organizations here or others, you can really stay involved and understand the wins that they're having and the things that are coming up. All right, I can stop here. I can. I don't actually have a huge amount of information about this yet. I know this income qualified bill discount program, if you have Portland General Electric, just opened, but I don't know enough about it to speak right now. So maybe just go to the link. If you go to our Facebook page, you can probably learn a little bit more than I have even right now, because this is pretty new. Oh, and then this is an example of like showing up. So Earth Day tomorrow. I know there's going to be events out there on Saturday at the OMSI. There's a youth climate summit. If you have time on Saturday to show up, during the day. I think it starts at 10 a.m. But so that you can, if you want to go in person to things, you totally can. If you want to just, share something on your phone, you can do that too. And then, yeah, like we said, Community Energy Project is getting into these spaces more than ever. Our advocacy team is doing great work. Alma is there, and some of our directors are there, advocating on behalf of our community and the folks that we serve. Yeah, this is our contact information. I'm going to stop there. I think, does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I realized it did go 30 minutes. I did not expect that, but maybe I was talking a lot. But thank you so much for attending and for making time. I hope you learned something. Thank you to Fix It Fair again. If we have any questions, we'll stay on, but otherwise you are free to go.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this, and I'm leaving now, but this has touched a lot of interest in me, and I just like the framework and how to contact. So thank you. I don't know how much I can do, but I appreciate you doing it.
Rosemary, thank you so much. That means a lot. So thank you.
And I like your presentation. You're very forthright and it's easy to listen to. Thank you. Okay, you got me laughing, but thank you.
Good.
All
I'm
right.
happy to hear that. Bye. Wing, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to host this and kick it off, this type of presentation. So hold on just a sec. I'm going to turn us off